Hi, Midhill. Um, this is Shara. I know my audio isn't great, but I don't have a good headset for this. Um, I want to warn you about a few things. You may hear quite a bit of background noise. Some of it would be music, because one of my neighbors has karaoke going on. One may be my brother, he's watching something in his bedroom next door. And then you may hear some whistling frogs in the background. They sound like crickets. So I apologize for that. Um, so this is a document that we've been working on, and it just starts with the table of contents, which would just be all the headings that we have so far. Not every heading has content under it, but we started with an outline of the topics that we wanted to cover, and so we just created headings based on that. So I'll just go through what we do have so far. So like I said, we wanted to map out how we go about the research. And so when we started, we had this kind of plan. So we would discuss toxicology, which I'll get to later, as a side issue, not the main issue. And then we would assess TRT in and of itself, which is the testosterone replacement therapy. There was also another alternative which looks at HCG and Clomid. But as our research, developed, we realized that this model would need to be refined greater, but we haven't gotten there yet. So each method we were going to look at the effectiveness of it on a cycled program or being used simultaneously with other treatments. And for each treatment, we would look at the effectiveness and the side effects. That's basically what this is. And just for educational purposes, we included this hormone cycle for production of testosterone in the body. It starts in the hypothalamus, which would release these gonadotropin releasing hormone, which is GnRH, and that stimulates the pituitary gland to release gonadotropins, right? And so the pituitary gland releases 3 of these gonadotropins, which would be the follicle stimulating hormone, the luteinizing hormone, and the human chorionic gonadotropin. These gonadotropins then stimulate the production of sperm in the testicles, and the Leydig cells in the testicles synthesize and secrete testosterone in response to the luteinizing hormone, which was in turn produced as a result of the gonadotropin. So that's where testosterone is produced. So Zodd wanted to go through this toxicology thing. I don't think it's necessary. This is where he would look at the effects of different technologies on natural production of testosterone, even like the wild and crazy theories that people have about microwaves and this 5G thing. He just wanted to cross that off the list. So the main reason for attempting TRT or any kind of hormonal treatment or testosterone replacement therapy is due to male hypogonadism, and this is where, for one reason or another, the man is not producing the amount of testosterone that is normal, and this could be for 3 main reasons, which is why it's separated into primary, secondary, and tertiary hypogonadism. So this is just a summary of what that means. It's not difficult. It's actually quite straightforward. Primary hypogonadism is when there's actual dysfunction in the testes, so that even though, if we go back up to the cycle, so even when the hypothalamus is secreting this gonadotropin releasing hormone and the pituitary gland is releasing those gonadotropins, something is going wrong in the testes, that testosterone is not being produced, or enough is not being produced. That's primary hypogonadism. In secondary hypogonadism, something is wrong in the pituitary gland. It does not release sufficient gonadotropins for the testes to produce testosterone. And in the tertiary hypogonadism, the hypothalamus has a dysfunction where it does not produce enough gonadotropin releasing hormone to start the entire process. So that's basically what hypogonadism is. And so this is the reason why he now needs to look at TRT as one of the ways to treat this condition. And this is just a breakdown of how you would isolate which type of hypogonadism, you may have. So you would get all these tests done with the doctor, and depending on the test, you'll be able to determine which type of hypogonadism you have, and therefore what the treatment should be. I included here for myself just the symptoms of post-pubertal hypogonadism, which is where he is at. He's past, obviously, the point of puberty. So I just put a list of symptoms here that a person with this condition would have. So hormone replacement therapy would be kind of the umbrella therapy that we're looking at, under which testosterone replacement therapy would fall. So this is just an introduction to hormone replacement therapy in general, just very quickly. So there's basically two ways that you can go about trying to treat hypogonadism. One is exogenous testosterone replacement therapy, which is the TRT that we've been talking about. And this is where you're introducing external testosterone into the body. Because the body is not producing enough, we're basically going to introduce external testosterone. That's called exogenous TRT. So this looks at what the goal of the TRT would be. We haven't entered anything under effectiveness of TRT in general, because the books I have read so far have been pretty detailed and didn't treat the issue from a global perspective as such. It kind of focused in on certain treatments rather than speaking about the hypogonadism itself in detail, and TRT itself in detail. Just kind of went on to treatments. And then we're going to discuss the side effects of TRT. So what I've been doing is, when I go through all the texts, so far I've done 3, and wherever in this document I find a extract that's relevant, I just copy and paste it. That's all I do really. So if I discover going through another textbook that they do speak to the effectiveness of TRT in general, I would just paste that here and put in a footnote to say where it came from. You see there's footnotes in here. Number 5. I can go through the references at the end. You'll see here also that there's no real detail under side effects of TRT. You just place a list here for now. So further research would need to be done into each side effect to find out how likely it is that it would occur, and if it does, how to treat with that. He's also interested in, at all stages, comparing the effectiveness of cycling TRT, which means that you would take a a dose after a certain amount of time, and then you would stop and then take some and stop. Is what he refers to as cycling. Or to use it consistently, maybe at a lower dosage. Just continuously use that same amount of of testosterone throughout the treatment. So far, I haven't really found that the authors have approached it from that perspective of cycling versus constant use. They haven't, to my understanding, really differentiated the treatment options like that, but that's how he wants to look at it. Now, the other way to treat hypogonadism, remember we said the exogenous TRT was where we are introducing external testosterone into the body. Another way to try to treat hypogonadism is with endogenous testosterone, and that is where instead of you trying to supplement the testosterone with externally, you actually try to get your body to produce the correct amount of testosterone. So that's called endogenous testosterone. So instead of just taking testosterone, you're trying to stimulate your body to make it. And there are various ways you can attempt to do that, depending on, again, what type of hypogonadism you have, whether primary, secondary, or tertiary. So the first of these that you will see a lot is HCG therapy. HCG standing for human chorionic gonadotropin therapy. So anything that I come across in any of the texts having to do with HCG, I place it here. So it goes into the administration of HCG, the effectiveness of HCG, again, cycling and constant use. I put those headings, but nothing under them as yet. The next type of endogenous therapy would be Clomid. So anything to do with Clomid that I find in the text, I paste here. And much in the same format as I would have used for HCG. Effectiveness, any side effects would all go under there. Don't worry so much right now about getting everything in the right place. I think that structurally it will have to be an evolving process. Just try to keep the relevant topics together for now. There's also another treatment called a Remedex. So anything with a Remedex you can place here. There's also enclomiphene citrate. That's another option for endogenous. Anastrozole is another one that seems more and more popular. You'll find also that some of these textbooks are quite old. So some are obviously older than others. So at the time that some of them were written, they would certain drugs would not have been on the market as yet. So you may find that some of the research is outdated. So again, there's nothing on the combinations, but that's how he wanted it structured. Okay, I think this is where, so far in my reading, there has been the most information. Like I was saying, the books so far don't really treat TRT as an academic topic. We're just exploring certain theories and explaining what it is. It just goes right to treatment. So this is where most of the information is right now, under administration and dosage. So looking at the administration of testosterone, there's many different ways that it could be administered. And so we are looking at the various ways it could be administered, the effectiveness of each administration. Some dogs howling. Any side effects, the dosage that's being recommended. You'll find among the authors there's some differences in the dosage that they recommend. Just put all of them and he would consider them in turn. So there's oral administration, but that is basically not a way that you can administer testosterone, because it's when it's digested and broken down, it would be rendered basically dead if it goes through your digestive system. So right, that's not a way. Oral administration is not one of the recommended ways to try to administer external testosterone, but we put it here nonetheless. Yes. And then there's sublingual administration, which is under the tongue. That's also not recommended. Then there are intramuscular preparations, and injectable testosterone is one of the most popular ways to introduce testosterone now. He doesn't really care about the pain and the other off-putting effects of injecting himself every day. So he's leaning toward this as well. And the more modern textbooks also. Well, it's also kind of controversial because doctors tend to be always more reserved, and they may suggest other methods before injection because of the pain and discomfort associated with injecting yourself. Anyway, so this is where we discuss intramuscular preparations and dosages, treatments, how long they would last, everything. So anything having to do with intramuscular preparations, you can just dump here. More injections, side effects, propionate, comparing different types of injectable testosterone. So there's two different kinds of injections. I think there's subcutaneous injections, and then there's intramuscular injections. I haven't found anything yet for subcutaneous injections, but that's one of the headings we wanted to explore. Then there's also implants that you can get, subcutaneous testosterone implants, and just like I guess birth control implants, it works similarly to release testosterone after a certain time. And then there's some topical creams that you can use as well. So anything that you would apply topically, I would put in this area. There's certain gels, there's creams, and different things. Androgel is a common one. But again, opinions vary as to the most suitable way of administering testosterone. There's gels and creams, like I mentioned. There's also a nasal gel, apparently. That's an option. Then there's transdermal testosterone, and you can administer this either scrotally or non-scrotally. So there's transscrotal testosterone. These are really patches. I guess like people who try to quit smoking and get a nicotine patch, you can get a testosterone patch. Some side effects. Under each type of administration, I have included a subsection on side effects. Then there is a main side effects subsection for TRT in general, right? So this is where those would fall. Again, you wanted the note on cycling. I haven't seen anything about cycling specifically. There's also some work out there about natural versus synthetic. I would change this to testosterone. That's really academic. Oh, the brands is important. We haven't gotten there yet, but when we start to summarize all of this information, we may come up with a list of brands for each type of administration. And then we have to then look and see what is available in his territory, because right now he's in Portugal. So everything that's available in the US may not be available to him, and vice versa. So it's something we have to look at. And also which brands his health insurance would cover, or which, administrations it would cover and which it wouldn't, because it's too, exploratory. Well, not exploratory, but excuse me, how health insurance is. Right, so that's the availability in Portugal we would look at. Price is also something we would look at for each administration. Right, and like I said, the health insurance coverage, what it would cover, what it wouldn't cover, for how much, for how long, and everything else. We also will look at black market availability. That's basically it. What I have done is I've entered in Word's bibliography section, where you go to manage your sources. I've entered all the books that I have so far, which makes footnotes easier. So when I make a footnote, so this is the books we have now. I think since I did this bibliography, I downloaded an additional text that I haven't added yet. I'll add it, that's okay. But how I don't know how familiar you are with Word and with footnotes and things like that, but like if I just pasted something and I wanted to add a footnote, like TRT is bad, and I wanted to say somebody said that, go to references, insert footnote, go back to references, let's pin that, insert the citation, and here is a list of the books. I just scroll down and find the book, and it would enter it here. To enter the page number, you just go to edit citation and add the page. And that's how I keep track of all references. So whenever he's reading it and he says, well, who said that, or we're going to read more about this, number 26 is Hallstrom 2013. He will look at the bibliography, Hallstrom 2013, and look for this book from the folder. Alright, let's take this one out. That's basically what we have so far. It's not hard work, it's just really, I think I'm just really burnt out from school, and I can't really concentrate. Like, I'm reading the text, but I feel like nothing is really penetrating. I'm having a hard time focusing, and I said, you know what, I don't want to hold up Zodd anymore. I know he's really anxious to get this done and get started on his treatment, so it was my idea to try to get some more help for us. So I really hope that you can help out. I mean, you seem like a bright person and a studious person. I think you used to work in a bookstore, right? So I think that you have an appreciation for literature and reading, and you don't really mind it, I hope. So that was the motivation behind asking you. And obviously, I mean, as somebody who has been and is out of work, picking up a little money can mean, all the difference. So I hope this helped a little. What I'm gonna do as well is ask him to send you some videos that he sent me when we first started, just to explain the hormone cycle that we went through earlier, and just some basic information about HRT and TRT and everything else. So let me know what you think, and we can always do a call as a follow-up to this video. Hope it wasn't too long. All right, thanks again, Midfield. Bye bye.